that's about it. Again, no, I mean, we're just getting started. It's been kind of weird start, at least for my part. I'm Nilo. Hello, folks. This is Be Smart on Air. And, well, that is a tough one, for sure, at least for me. And a little bit earlier, before Chad joined us from the other side of the pond, I was just telling that while I was trying to get this thing started, all of a sudden, the Hangout went down. And that was like the first ever for my part. Internet connection was fine, but all of a sudden it just said, sorry. And I restarted the thing, and we seem to be good. So if weird things happen again, then you are forewarned about this. But hey, it's live. Anything can happen. And by the way, behind my back, there are some senior citizens in the pantry there washing the dishes with a industrial-grade dishwasher, and it can make heck of a racket. If I manage to mute myself, I promise to do that when they fire that thing. Fire it, get started with that thing. We'll see about that. Okay, and actually, we should be talking about games. Games we all play day and night, or perhaps not. But anyway, somehow it seems that this gaming thing is definitely, I was about to say, coming into education. It's already there, I suppose. And we can see where we land on this. I have started this Showcase Hangouts app. Before the introduction, I'll just say a couple of words about that. And with any luck, the Showcase should be visible to those folks, all the billions of people watching in the stream.
Yes, it is.
And we have some links there, which is the point.
Yep,
so it's kind of a lazy man's agenda, like I said. Suits me just fine. Perhaps we can use that a little bit. Hey, introductions. Tina, you go first, then the others. How is Finland doing?
Finland is fine. It's winter holidays in my region this week, and so I'm working, but I don't have my phone ringing all the time, and not very busy. I'm doing the report, so that has to be finished by the end of this month. So I'll be busy writing report and that very boring and tiring, and just a good week to do that.
You shouldn't say you are bored. You're working for the, let's see, Finnish Board of Education?
Yeah, but I think everybody could share my opinion about writing reports. So looking back at things and writing this and that, it's really I don't like that. I did the sort of numeric thing about how many readers I've had in SlideShare and so on. So I've done that. That's interesting because there you can see what's happened. But writing it out, not very interesting. Okay. But it has to be done, of course.
Agreed to that for the most part. Kim, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Today I was totally out of it. A week before last.
Yeah, I heard you were homesick.
Yeah, week 7 was a disaster.
I must say that I've been lucky so far. Here in my part of the world, people are homesick. Like, I don't know. Looks like 50% of the workforce is homesick. It's crazy. The way this whatever it's called, the regular winter flu is hitting us here.
Yeah. Well, I had a fever of 39 degrees, so I passed out actually one of the days.
Shoot. Hey, Kim, what are you doing, by the way, when you are not homesick?
I'm an IT administrator at upper secondary school, what we call a gymnasium in Sweden. And well, when I'm not doing that actively, I'm sitting here discussing with you guys and reading all kinds of forums and communities about Google Apps, and educating myself on how to use that.
That's pretty ambitious.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Good.
I was talking to a technician today actually, and I said that's one of my main things I do, as it's not
the main thing you do is talking to technicians.
No.
No.
There's that I do this because I want to, not that it's part of my job, because I want this organization, the entire school organization, to be at the forefront, and someone has to be there, showing the way.
It's a tough job, but someone's got to do it, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
And
Right.
if you want teachers to have access to all these tools and games like we're talking about, someone has to do it first and push the leaders and higher up administrators to actually activate features and use.
Tell me about it. Somehow I kind of recognize that, Kim. Honest.
Yeah.
I do. Chad, how is the good old US?
Oh, we're fighting strong.
Yeah.
As always.
Winter all over the place.
It's not too bad here. We had 6 to 10 inches of snow last week, and that, I know to you guys that's a very small amount. But it tends to shut us down for 4 or 5 hours. But we got back on the road, and everything's going to be fine.
Let's see. And your location, was it like south?
I'm in Columbia, Missouri. It's right about in the middle. We're in the central Midwest.
Okay, central Midwest. Uh-huh. And you are like doing coding and stuff normally, huh?
Yes. My day job, I am a software developer for a healthcare staffing company. I develop and maintain a learning management system and content authoring tools for that organization.
And not least, you know quite a bit about Hangouts.
Now, I do some Hangout production on the side, so I spend a lot of time in Hangouts, and I see a lot of value in what you're doing here. I love seeing people use this stuff. It helps me, it helps the world. We all feel more interconnected when we can get here and talk to each other face to face.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. And you knowing this stuff really well, so that thing alone is a good reason for having you here. But there are quite a few others as well. I mean, you are, in a way, pretty tightly connected to education as well.
Thank you.
Cool, great to have you here. Always fun having folks from your side of the pond, like I
It's
said.
entirely my pleasure. Thank you for the invitation.
Alistair, hello there.
Hello there. Greetings from the southeast of Sweden, from Kalmar. I'm at Linnaeus University, so representing the higher education sector here. Weather-wise down here, we have had an extremely long autumn, and now it's going to be spring. Winter just hasn't happened. We got a sprinkling of snow here and there, but it disappeared very quickly, and it's basically, winter has been a flop.
Yeah.
So, and we've had an incredibly long autumn, which is really boring. I'd rather have loads of snow. Anyway, I work with. I'm a sort of e-learning specialist. I trend analysis and that sort of stuff. I try to monitor what's going on in the field and how it relates to, especially higher education, but even other educational sectors. So I suppose I know a little bit about a lot.
Sounds pretty good to me. I think you know quite a bit about a lot. You seem to be traveling like crazy, Alistair.
No, actually, well, it comes in sort of intensive periods. The beginning of the year was pretty crazy with 3 countries in 3 weeks, but then it's quietened down. The last few weeks, it's been a pretty ordinary 9 to 5 routine, sort of 8 till 5 routine. Off to Oslo next week, but that doesn't count. It's too close.
Right. So, about the, well, let's say perhaps main topic for today. How many of you guys are gamers? Put up a hand. I'm not putting up a hand, mind you. Some hands are popping up if someone is just listening here. I love to check out games and, you know, like when other people show what they do, like the kids do these days. I guess they are into this stuff together pretty often, I think, and that's fine with me. But I'm not that good at gaming myself. I kind of I don't know. I check them out and hey, cool graphics, whatever, and that's about it. But I guess education and gaming is a different story altogether.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be anything new, huh? It's kind of age old, isn't it? It's like Stone Age old. No one wants to say anything about that. That was a comment that killed the show. Let's just go home.
No, I can use gaming. I play games actively, but I usually played single-player games only. I don't play multiplayer games because it's too easy for people to cheat. That loses the fun out of it. So I played first-person shooter games for single players, and I also spent last week, when it was a school holiday, playing quite a few Xbox games.
Just like any other schoolboy.
Yep, just like kids were off with their moms, and I played some Xbox.
You gotta know this stuff in order to know what the students are doing, right? Yeah. Marilena, Italy here. Hey, how are you doing?
Excuse for play.
Brilliant excuse.
Let's see. Do we have audio from Marilena? Hey, do you hear us? Okay, Marilena, give us thumbs up if you're hearing us. I think your video might be frozen right now, but you look great, so it's not a big problem. Most often when my video freezes, I look like a weirdo. Let's see here. You might do some adjustments, Marilena. There's this gear icon. Is that correct, chat? You call it a gear icon? What do you call that thing? Oh, I got thumbs up.
Looks like a gear to me.
Yep.
I got thumbs up from a Hangouts expert.
Gear
icon.
If you go into the gear icon for the Hangout settings in the central top portion of your screen, you should be able to find a drop-down list where you can select a microphone. How many microphones do you see listed there?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yay!
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
I fixed it!
Awesome, Dad.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
We hear you
Yes.
fine, Marilena. What about our audio? Is it coming through to you?
Yeah. It's coming fine.
Super. I mean, we have this great help desk, Hangout help desk from the U.S. We couldn't possibly, I couldn't possibly cope without it. So, hey, kudos to Chad here.
Okay. Can I ask a question to this great Hangout help from the US? I would like to know, is it possible to get a list of the people who've been watching you also in streaming?
No, not uniquely identified people. You can get the numbers of people from different geographic regions and such, but you can't individually identify a person. No, I'm sorry to say.
No. Okay, fine.
What you get is some kind of stats of the numbers, but what did you say? You get stats by area, chat?
You can find out how many viewers from what areas, using what browsers, different information like that. But it's not possible at this time to uniquely identify a viewer, and I think there are a lot more positives to that than negatives.
So I can't get their social security numbers.
No.
Not yet.
Not yet.
It's coming. It's coming. I bet the spooks have it already anyway. By the way, all not that just the States. I mean, they're doing the same thing all over the globe. In Sweden, China, Russia, you name it. Italy, I bet.
It's also the feature of the event or the Hangout video. There's the question: are you going to watch it? And that changes to afterwards. Did you watch it? And people aren't really truthful. I click. Yeah, I watched it because I'm going to, and I like the prospect of the video, and if I click it, it'll be put in my calendar. So it's timed, so that means I can find it again, because finding old Hangouts isn't all that easy.
No. So what about games?
Oh yeah, games. Right.
Now back to games.
Back to games.
Games. Marilena, we're talking about games. Oh, we were supposed to be
Okay.
talking about games. And Kim.
Okay.
before we
Sorry
sidetrack-
for asking this question about Hangouts.
all my fault. Hey, heck, it
Anyway.
doesn't matter.
It should be like, it's almost 20 years ago now. When I started out studying to become a teacher in '94, we were having a sort of a seminar about games, or I made it about games because I wanted to show how real life they can be. And we actually ran a game called Quake from ID Software.
I have tried that.
Yeah,
Yes, sir,
and
indeed.
I used it to display a 3D world, three-dimensional world online, where my fellow students could walk around and get
Kill each other.
That was the fun part. But after about 5-10 minutes, I invited some pro players that wiped the floor with everyone. But it was fun.
Successful seminar.
Very successful seminar.
Attendance death
Could there possibly
died
be?
in
Could there possibly be?
30
some other-
seconds.
Could there possibly be some kind of other potential in gaming apart from killing each other, like in
Yes,
education?
It was a show. Imagine this being like Sims.
Yeah.
It could be Sims running in a real 3D environment. Today it's usually a 2D, two-dimensional environment, the Sims. But you could have a real, be a character and walk around with your eyes watching.
Yeah. Second Life.
Second Life, yeah.
You remember that? No, it's still
I
going
never
strong.
played.
I was very involved in it for a while. I was part of a project way back in about 2006, 2007, when it began to take off and the hype was enormous. And I remember we just announced that we were going to be taking part in a project in Second Life, and within a few days I'd had the local radio, television, and newspaper in my office. It was a feeding frenzy. They thought it was so cool and so on. We hadn't done anything at all. It was just the fact that we had sort of stepped into this arena. Very interesting, but I don't go there nowadays. But I maybe should, because a lot has happened since then, and it's still going. It's just
it's still around.
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of serious training going on in education.
I
There's a
think
lot
that
of-
the age limit is 18. It can't be used in basic education because of the age limit. It's 18.
But
Have you been fooling
Or
around
it
with?
used to be 18. I don't know if
yeah,
it's
it is. It is.
Yeah.
Tina, have you been fooling around with Second Life as well? I've never tried it. I've just seen screenshots and stuff.
Yeah, no, I haven't. It's just because I've been working so solely with basic education and secondary education. So it was sort of a thing that one more thing that you could spend a lot of time sort of enjoying and looking through without any actual way to use it in your own.
So, Alistair, what was the educational angle, the way you understood it with Second Life, or what is, if it's still, like you say, it's still being used? Is it like distance studies or
well,
what?
it's a totally different type of arena for online collaboration and meetings, and in a way, to a certain extent, not a very alternative to this sort of thing. Very much used with role play.
Okay.
And there are new simulation or sort of virtual world applications that are more advanced than Second Life. That are now used extensively by hospitals, emergency services. There are where you can practice. You can have simulations that don't hurt anyone, that are not too expensive to put on, and it's a very immersive and very convincing environment. I know several research hospitals in the world where they use Second Life and other simulation tools to simulate emergency situations. I know there was an Australian university working with training social workers and psychiatrists, and they used to have interviews with patients in Second Life where they had a reception.
Wow.
They sat down, and you had no idea who this patient was because they looked, you know, it felt realistic. We
I felt that second life for those who are deadly sick. A little bit of
Tina,
hope.
for heaven's sake. Oh,
Seriously,
God.
there's
Awful.
a lot of research into this. One angle that
Couldn't help myself.
my colleagues looked at and I a little bit was the idea of empathy in distance learning.
Yeah.
And the fact that within something like Second Life, you have so many other cognitive sort of stimuli. In this sort of a meeting, we're just a pile of talking heads. It's not terribly exciting.
I can't understand why someone actually would be watching this.
I mean, I still remember, even if it's way back, I remember places in Second Life. I remember how to get to a venue. You went along this street and there was this shop on the corner. I mean, places that don't exist. I remember fields. I remember sitting in a beautiful sort of forest environment around a log fire, talking to different people and actually doing work and discussing. I remember sitting in the bottom of the sea talking to other people, or up in a cloud doing group work.
Yeah.
And because we were there, we have a shared experience. When you actually meet these people in real life, you say, remember the time we met in Second Life in that crazy place up in the clouds? Oh, yes, I remember that. It really brings you together. And I think that's where gamification and simulation really is so powerful. I'll try and stop talking in a minute. I'll just let you think. I'll move on. I wonder, though, whenever we start talking about games, especially in higher education, everyone gets a little bit worried because, wait a minute, that doesn't sound serious. It may be more attractive in a school environment, but in higher education or so on, gamification, games doesn't sound serious enough. But if you turn it into words like simulation and real life training, etc. If you just change the name a bit, I think people get the message, and it's extremely strong. And I think we need more of this sort of thing because it's so immersive. You are so taken up by it. There's so many other stimuli than just looking at heads.
Yeah.
There's some cool stuff coming from Microsoft, I think, talking about immersive, this HoloLens thing. You know about that? Have you heard about that, guys? It's kind of a augmented reality thing, I believe, and they are supposed to make it, like, I think, to a commercial product this spring or something like that, which sounds crazy since no one knew about it like a month ago. I guess the first journalist that took a look at that was something like a month ago or whatever. And it sounds, I've just read a couple of blog posts or whatever, and it sounds pretty amazing. Like we have here in the showcase at something about Minecraft somewhere. Minecraft. They were building Minecraft, like checking it through this HoloLens thing. I think it's kind of a piece of gear you attach to your head, kind of wonky. I think the first first equipment.
Your brain.
But anyway, they said that, just listen to this. Listen to this, Tina. It was pretty cool since they said that it was a pretty amazing experience since they were building this castle or whatever Minecraft thing on a table, and it was right there in front of them on that darn table. And when they blew away parts of the castle, they could blow away parts of the table as well, and kind of look through the table into this Minecraft verse.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty incredible stuff. I didn't know there was anything that really functioned like that yet.
It's quite cool because this way you put Minecraft virtual world into the real world, which is one way of doing it. And the other way is using a 3D printer to put stuff you build in Minecraft and create real things in a 3D printer from Minecraft, because you can export Minecraft graphics and import it into a 3D printer and actually build it. So if you build a house in Minecraft or whatever, you can push that out into the real world.
Hey, there's someone in Portugal watching, it says here. Alistair, did you get that?
Awesome.
Wow. Wow. Amazing. Minecraft, yeah. Do you guys know of anyone, or have you like tried Minecraft with students or seen it being used in the educational context? I haven't.
It's used an awful lot in Sweden. It's really widely.
I've heard that.
I know a lot of people who are really. There's research being done on it and so on. Maybe Kim can say more.
Yeah, actually, I've been in touch with this researcher. Where, for heaven's sake? I think it must be the university in the very middle of Sweden, called something like Mittuniversitet,
Sweden
University in the middle. And I think she's called Lisa Selvin. Recognize the name, Alistair?
No, but there's a lot of work being done. Minecraft is a sort of, if you don't know, it's a bit of a virtual world, and it's a Swedish invention, and it's used more and more in Swedish schools.
And it's widespread in America also used.
Extremely widespread, I think. I was doing my best to get, well, Lisa here, and to get Minecraft.net, yeah, to get Zach Gilbert here as well from the US. And I mean, he's the guy about games and education. He has this EdReach show at least once a month, I think. And it's a podcast as well. He's been digging heavily into this stuff. But unfortunately, I guess he's with his students. I try to call his principal and everything, but and mail them, but no luck. If he doesn't, perhaps he'll pop up. That would be pretty cool if he could join us.
I remember, the power of games for learning is so strong. I remember many, many years ago, before the world of computers became, before I even got interested in computers and so on, way back in the early 90s, I went on a company training course. They decided that we needed to know more about accounting and business finance. And I thought, oh, what fun. And we were going to go for a 3-day intensive course at a conference center in this subject, and we all thought this is going to be awful, and the only possibly good thing will be the meal in the evening and the chance to have a few beers. However, it was in the form of a game, a little bit like the game of Monopoly, but with different boards and different counters and so on. And we all had to make a company and decide what we were going to do. And there was a market, and the course leader gave us things that we could make. There were new activities came up, and we had to bid. We had to make bids for various deals and so on to sell our products. And we had to do the balance sheet and the profit and loss account each year. And we went through cycles, going, and I've never seen a course where people got so excited.
Yeah.
The conference dinner the first evening, people were throwing down their dessert and saying, I want the key to the classroom. I want to get back and prepare for tomorrow. We made a mess of today and we want to be on. People were forgetting breakfast. They were just taking a cup of coffee and asking for the key of the classroom at sort of 7 o'clock in the morning and sitting there preparing. I've never seen that kind of engagement in any other training course. If we can get that spirit, if we can find that through computer gaming, that is learning for me, and maybe we shouldn't call it gamification because it maybe trivializes it.
But Alistair, you must also remember that was the subject matter of those courses were something that you were engaged in your teaching or learning or your jobs or whatever, so you were there for a reason. So now when you're at school, most of the stuff that is taught at school, they have nothing to do with the students. They're just, somebody outside the school has decided that they have to study this and that, and a bit of geography and a bit of history and maybe a little bit of economics as well. And they don't have a real connection to what they should be learning. So sort of it's different. I think, of course, by gamification, you can get this feeling. Well, this was a very strong disappointment for me for the serious games. When I 2 years ago, I saw quite a lot of the of those, and they were all based on the very old-fashioned carrot and whip strategy, so that if you do the right thing, you can get a carrot, and if you do the wrong thing, you get punished in terrible ways. And I don't think that's really a nice way of learning. I don't think that's something that we should be encouraging on students, that they would be sort of competing each other and trying to find the carrots and be whipped now and again. So there are so many sort of unpleasant sort of streaks to gamification, that I just, just to give a little bit of, to your excitement, there is also this is the good side and the bad side. There's always the dark side of the moon also.
But Tina, you can't be serious. I mean, you mean that school could be boring?
Not possible. I was going to ask you guys, as educators.
Rule that one out. Sorry, Chad, go ahead.
As educators, and I'm not speaking of video games here, but don't you incorporate games into learning? Isn't that one of the best ways to spark creativity and engage students? So it's not just about video games. It's about making a pleasant experience, an exciting experience, an engaging experience. And I think it's outside of education too. I remember a couple years ago, Google, with their Google News product, they started to gamify reading the news. If you selected Android as one of your topics and you use Google News to read 10 different Android topics, you got moved up a rank and you get an achievement badge. And I love badges, man. Badges get flowing for a little bit. I was reading news like crazy for about a week and a half, 2 weeks there.
That's pretty cool. And I mean, I think you really nailed it, Chad. Since the way I see it, using this games thing doesn't actually need to have anything to do with computers, huh?
No.
It can be just about, like you say, and Tina, I guess that's what you're referring to as well. It would be a good thing if we could somehow increase the level of motivation without making it necessary for the students to feel that I've got to be just as good as this guy next to me or whatever, this somehow whatever the dark side of the competition part and all that.
I don't see much competition in the games that I've seen and used in education. It's non-competitive. It's more sort of setting your own pace and matching your own goals, and it's very.
They're both
very
around,
rewarding. I don't see too many.
Do you have some examples in mind, Alistair?
Sorry, Tina.
Yeah, well, I was just saying, or just the thing is that in Finland we have this hype on games, and there are a lot of entrepreneurs doing games, and some of them are trying to find their ways in serious games as well. And it's sad that they are not. They're engineers, not teachers, who do those games. So they have very simplified idea about learning and teaching, and so that means that the games sort of work on very often only on one level, and they have experience on games, but they don't have experience on learning and teaching, and very much of the very effective good effect or effective way of learning by playing games is that you play them instead of a million times. So in that way, I mean, that's how because I can see, for example, boys who are very good at English already when they start learning English, because they've been playing games a lot, but it's because I have two sons, and I've seen the way they play those. It's like, they can go on and on and on forever, and of course they learn a lot, but that kind of repetition is hard to get any other way. So there is no sort of magic in that. It's just it's a lot of time, but it doesn't feel like a lot of time. So time passes very quickly for those who play games, instead of for those who are just reading books. It's very, very slow.
I mean, I know my own son, and I'm sure your children in many cases, I mean, he used to play the sort of military strategy games, not shoot 'em up games, but strategy. And he went through virtually world history with these strategy games, and some of them are very advanced. I never got into them myself, but I watched how he played them, and he's got a grasp from them. He's got a deeper grasp of certain periods of world history than he could ever have got from his school curriculum. And his knowledge of the leading figures in various campaigns quite astounds me at times when we're talking about Napoleonic Wars, and he starts trotting out the names of French generals and key battles and strategic considerations about what Russia's attitude towards the French. And I'm quite. I said, where did you get that? And he said, from the games, of course. And there's a rich seam that I think we need to tap into, because these kids are doing that in their free time, and it's education, but they don't realize it.
There's this link in the Hangout Showcase app from a U.S. educator called Alice Keeler, I think. I was trying to get her on board. She gets up like 4 a.m. in the morning, she says. Hi, Alice. 4 a.m. in the morning. I don't understand how she copes with all this stuff, since she's like shelling out all this great stuff on her website about like educational technology, different things about that. And there was this one like blog post where she was underlining that you should provide a challenge working with games, and it's kind of an interesting blog post. I must get back to that and read it one more time, and hopefully we can get some comments from her later on to this as well.
Alistair brought up the strategy games. Well, the U.S. Army developed America's Army, a first-person shooter where kids download the game, they play, they learn a little bit about strategy in warfare, but mainly the first-person shooter aspect. But working as a team, being able to coordinate activities between different soldiers, and having a command of a small group. And apparently it's a pretty popular game. Well, they say it's a pretty popular game. I don't know, I haven't played it myself. But I thought it was interesting that the Army is participating in this as well.
Yeah, I mean, collaboration, I mean, that must be the hot stuff for everyone, especially for the military.
Not to say shooting.
I must say, I did spend a period of time where I was a very intense gamer, though it was mostly with sports, and I got really into it. But after several years of playing it, I came to the conclusion that I wasn't very good, and I wasn't getting better. I was actually getting worse. As the games got more and more sophisticated, my fingers just couldn't keep up with the controls. However, I must say that I found the obsession in a way that I remember that I just couldn't wait to sit down after dinner, get into the computer room and get it going and start playing another NHL game in my quest for the Stanley Cup. And I played a real season. I mean, the 92 games. Plus, you have to decide who gets training, and you take out your team, and you develop the tactics, and you see who's playing well and who's not playing well. You check out the other teams. It got you so involved.
Sucked in there.
but it was damaging to my. I realized it was too much of my life getting obsessed.
So, what do we learn of this, Alice?
I don't know. I can vouch for the fact that it is immersive, and I can understand how kids get completely taken up by it.
Yeah. I mean,
but this is something I think that should be maybe also gamification as sort of fun way of learning as such, but also this idea you said about of this is something they do in their free time. It's what they learn there is completely informal, but what we are looking towards now these days is to combine the informal, the things they are engaged actually in. So how do we bring them to the classroom and find the sort of content there that is really something that supports their individual growth and their self-esteem and whatever sort of positive effects it has, and somehow sort of recognize it, that it's not just a waste of time altogether, though it might of course be that, but of course not anything. I really feel that this is something I'm sort of working on these days, is how to bring those things that already engage students into the classroom and combine them in the classroom into a learning process and see what comes out of that. So not really try to invent or create whole new universes for students to get engaged in, but to get what they have found and what they have found interesting and engaged into, and bring that into the classroom.
Is that, Tina, is that part of what you are doing with the new curriculum in Finland as well? This
is part of my work, is just to, so no, I'm not teaching now, and I'm not bringing anything into the classroom at the moment, but my work is to play with the ideas like this and think of what to do and question the existing learning and teaching and see how that could be sort of flipped into something else. And flipped, I think it's a wonderful thing, and it's completely sort of wasted in the way it's used, because you can flip learning in so extremely many ways. You can flip it like between formal and informal, or formal and non-formal, and at home and at school, and between classes and so on. So it's between teachers and students, change the roles of the teachers and students, and so you can flip it in 100 ways. And this, I think, is something that can bring something totally new and creative in learning process.
By the way, one of the few things I have tried with my students well, gamification. It's a funny word, this gamification thing. Somehow, I don't know if it's like all positive or not, whatever. I guess there are different views on that. But anyway, games. I tried Kahoot. I got that in the showcase app there, the link. It's a quiz, and you run or the teacher runs the quiz on the big board or big screen, and those who are participating are using...
Those who are fastest.
Pardon?
Those who are fastest win, which is, I think...
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
it's crazy.
That is definitely competition, you know. So they I can just outline the way it works. So the participants join using whatever internet-connected devices they have, and it works great, and my students have been having lots of fun, and the way I've been doing it's been, well, it hasn't been deadly serious, to say the least, and they've had apparently quite a bit of fun with that, and I can imagine it could be pretty much fun even with a grown-up audience, like part of a some kind of a presentation or whatever. I could imagine doing that for sure.
I did it, Nilo.
You did it, Marilena, with grown-ups?
I did it with grown-ups, with teachers, actually.
How was it?
I did it during a training, and we had this, how can you make your project more interactive? So I used Kahoot to stimulate thinking, and I gave different things that they could do to make it more interactive if they were doing a project with another school, online project. And it worked perfectly. They enjoyed it so much. And yes, I had these questions. They could make their choice, and then eventually we could comment on the choices, which was the most that they chose, and if it was correct or not correct, which was the correct one, the best one, at least. Yeah, it worked perfectly, because you see, you can use your smartphone to answer the questions. So yes, it worked very well. They were very happy. That was the hit of the training, really, that I gave. And I'm sorry, but I was. Yeah,
Marilena, it's very traditional in a way that it's a teacher sort of centered in the way that teacher creates the questions, and what the students do, they just click the red or yellow or green button, and that's their, and as fast as they can, and they read as fast, and so it's like I really I think it's a fun thing to do among different things, but for learning purposes, I think it's just for maybe to just check if they have learned something, or if they've understood anything for 5 minutes at the end of the lesson, but it's not a learning tool as such. I think it's just
the students can create their own quizzes as well, and in that case, you might really be doing something for real, kind of serious stuff. Creating your own quiz.
Yeah, I must say that I used it in this training, just because, I mean, lots of presentations was really boring. So I thought, instead of having a presentation, I will have this thing, and so it's more interactive, just to make something different. Yeah, of course, this is not learning. I would find Zondel. Don't know. Have you ever heard of Zondel?
Yeah. It was part of the collaboration work we did earlier. Yeah.
Well, I used Zondel a lot, and that is more for learning, because you can assign the quizzes. It's always quizzes, but you can assign the quizzes both as formative, as formative assessment. And there is and they can get badges according to what they're doing, and there are a lot of tools for the teacher to keep track of the progress of the students. So you can decide how long they can play the same quiz, and according to what they're doing, and eventually you can assign a badge to who's best. They get points, which I also used in my other gamification attempt, because I made I have been experimenting a lot with games and gamification in my classes recently. And so I used the points that they could get in Zondel for the other game, or for them to get like sort of bonuses, like you can don't know, for one day you're allowed not to do your homework, or this and that, different things, or you can get a hint on your mission, because they had missions to accomplish, so they could get a hint on their mission if they would pay with the points that they got in Zondel playing the games. And I used Zondel mainly for grammar, because grammar is very boring. And this was a funny way of having grammar exercises.
Marilena, so Tina is asking here, what's the name of the game? It's Zondel. It spells, I think,
Zondel.
Z-O-N-D-L-E. Z-O-N-D-L-E, I think.
.com. Yeah.
Zondel.com. Yeah, right. That's it.
Yeah.
And I find this, which is more about learning, and it is very involving for the students because there is always a competition between them. They get immediate feedback on what they're doing because they get the points, and the teacher can also give badges and can also allow them to have different and so this is good. So they have this formative assessment, and then you can also have like a sort of boss fights or showdown. Because you can have a quiz that they have to play on the spot. You can also have team challenges. You can also have these things, and these team challenges or challenges, they're more like the Kahoot game, where everybody has got to answer, and is motivating in that you say, well, you can train, and if you train well, you might win the challenge. And the challenge can also be a team challenge, which is good because you have them collaborate to win the challenge.
Wow.
Yeah, that sounds pretty neat. And what I've seen about that, it works just fine. Another thing I have tried a little bit, and I'm trying to use it myself, is Duolingo, and Marilena has been using that as well. That's in the showcase as well. Well, I have never seen such a great app, since it is a smartphone app as well, for language learning. And man, it really works. I really want to get that next badge, you know. And then I'm pretty much like competing with myself.
Yeah, look at the
badges or carrots, whatever.
Yeah.
they have the carrots.
There are carrots, but there's no sticks involved. But I mean, look at Khan Academy, which is probably the most popular educational site in the world, and the popularity of that, which is based around basically short, simple videos in the field in mathematics, biology, chemistry, physics, and so on.
Is there a game like this gamification?
Yeah. You get badges. You can go up levels. You can become a sort of grandmaster.
Of course. I didn't even know. There you
it's
see.
all about moving up. It's all about It's about earning respect and becoming a master of certain. It's based on a very clear gaming strategy. There's loads of tests. You can test yourself as long as you like. You can earn badges. You can move up levels to extra challenging tests, and you can. It's become so big now and is used all over the world.
It's become huge. But it's just this one guy who was doing these, putting together these whatever, like some kind of presentations in mathematics or what?
Yeah. He was just doing simple YouTube films of about 2 or 3 minutes to explain how to do various equations.
To his niece or something?
Yeah,
I guess.
and then it just took off.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah, and they apply that incentive not only to taking the test or doing the practice. Doing the examples, actually practicing the equations, but also for watching the videos. So you get points for going through the lecture, then you get points for how often you practice and how well you do and how fast you get through a round. So they reward you on a lot of different levels. And gamification comes in different forms like that. You have the simulation is one of the better forms of learning. You have the achievement, the carrot, the stick that Tina was talking about earlier. I'm sorry, Tina, go ahead.
Yeah, I was thinking about this as perhaps more like a personalized learning. So when you're moving forward at your own pace and not in that everybody in the classroom sort of goes at the same pace. We have actually in my school we have teachers who have done for the whole Finnish community a math of 7th, 8th, and 9th grades math as an independent course with the Finnish videos and video clips explaining things and lots of practices and so on. And it's just maybe half of the students studying sort of that suits half of them, and half need a personal sort of face-to-face learning experience, but half do it by themselves, and it's but it's I don't know if it's gaming actually. It's sort of personalized learning, perhaps more like
Personalized
that.
learning
No,
with built-in carrots. Huh?
no. In this case, I think the gamification comes when you have uh, a reward for what you're doing, and you know that you can progress and you can challenge others.
Or
Uh,
challenge other.
this is challenge others. Yeah, this is what happens with Duolingo. You can also challenge other people. And I'm using it in with my classes. I've got mixed ability classes, of course, and of course I say because it's like that. So what happens is that very often I cannot go on because there is someone who's left behind in one topic, while there are smarter students who want to go on with the learning. So Duolingo is very good because they can move on at their own pace. They can start from where from what their actual level is, and they can move forward, and still they can feel part of the class, because what we are trying to do is we are trying to set goals for the weekend. They play Duolingo mainly in the weekend, and they have goals for the weekend. They have a certain number of points that they have to accumulate over the weekend. And
I mean,
so,
is that, Marilena, like on those goals are on their own respective levels, or?
yeah. I mean, you know, if you play Duolingo, you know that as you play, you accumulate points. You can set your own goals, like I want to do like 30 XP per day, and so on.
Yeah.
So we said for the class, everybody has got to reach like 50 XPs during the weekend. And as a teacher, I have a dashboard, and I can see what happens with all the students, who is playing in which topic of the various levels, at which level they are, and how many points they got over the week. And so this is good, and they can also have challenges between them. I find it, they keep playing. Some of them can play like the whole afternoon. They've been playing. I've seen it in my dashboard. They have been playing the whole afternoon. And the good thing is that if they haven't been playing for a long time, they have to go back and revise what the latest lessons that they had. So this is good, I think, and this is a way of keeping them motivated also. Of course, I do not use it for my grades. This is not something that has got to do with grades, but it is something to keep them motivated and keep learning. Some of them, when I explain some new grammar topic in class, they come up and say, "Oh yes, I was practicing this yesterday in Duolingo, so I know what it is about." So it's good, and they can have their own pace, and this is good.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
seems to work just fine. I guess we just have to see to it that I don't sit at the computer all day and all night.
back to both Chad's and Marilena's point here is that gamification is not about playing games. Gamification is about rewards, and knowledge and grades are not rewards. They need this continuous rewarding to push them to keep on working. That's how you advance and become more.
Is it like the dog when my sons were very small? The dog that you bought, the digital dog, and you had to feed it and take it out and give it drinks, and otherwise it died, and so
you're very right. You're very right.
It's like the same thing with this English game, that if you don't go there every day, it sort of throws you in the first back at the beginning. Now you have to start all over again. Or they're thrown out completely.
Gaming is very much based on the theory of behaviorism,
Yeah, I hate that. I
Yeah, you
sincerely hate that.
yeah,
It makes
that,
my
but,
skin creep.
but then you have cognitivism, which changed it a little bit, and it is not just about reward, but it's also about the process
Competition.
and about collaborating. No, also collaborating.
But competition,
You should
I
treat.
think, more than
No, it is not.
collaborating.
No, it is not competition. It is also competition, but it is also about collaborating. And if you were to read, what's her name, McGonigal, she's broken a book. She's written a book which is Reality is Broken, and she talks very much about the future of games as a way to collaborate and to make something epic, as she says, all together.
Very, I like that. I mean, if you look at Minecraft and Second Life and various other simulation tools, it's about collaborating and creating an environment, creating places to meet, places to do things. It's co-creation. It's there's that's one thing that we noticed about Second Life is that there's no element of competition whatsoever. Okay. It's a world. It's a world. There's you're not competing at all. Everything in Second Life has been created by the users.
I think that's more like an environment.
It's a whole world. It's a world. You create
virtual world or virtual environment, and the games thing, I think, is I feel that it's not so much involved there then.
It is.
I guess it depends what you make out of it. I mean, you can do anything in within that environment. If it's games or war or love, whatever.
But it's fiction. It's fiction is a different thing than games or gamification.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at Minecraft, for instance, in Minecraft you can set up a server, and in the server you can have people collaborating between them to, defend a place from others, aliens coming and wanting to destroy it, and they can get together.
I know that it's possible, but it's not the mainstream way of games. The mainstream way of games is mostly they are based on behaviorism and competition, and then there are, of course, these other games that have these elements of collaboration or teaming up and things like that. But the sort of usual.
Yeah, but I thought we were talking about games. Antonio, sorry, my son is being silly. Ti sposti, per favore? He's trying to destroy everything. He's playing volleys at home. So knocking all the plants.
Not virtual. Well.
No, not the best thing to do. I was saying, if we want to discuss about games in education, of course we have to choose which games, and also, in a way, exploit games for our educational purposes. Because we are educators, so we know what we want to do. We have to know what we want to do, and we have to choose the best way to do it. I mean, I used Minecraft with my students because they're very young. They are 11, and they had to describe their house, and some of them have not got beautiful houses. So I told them, why don't you build your house in Minecraft, and you describe your house in Minecraft, which was very good because they could practice pronouns, prepositions and materials, and a lot of vocabulary came out. Then we drew a mind map of all the different rooms and materials and things that you find in the rooms. That was very, very good, and they were really involved in doing it. It was just a different way of doing something that is usual in my curriculum. I mean, in Italy we do describe your house. And very often they come with things that are a little bit sloppy because their house is not very beautiful. They do not have many rooms, or the same when they have to describe their bedrooms. Some of them do not have a bedroom.
Yeah.
So.
So long as they don't learn their physics there.
They would. You would learn
Wow.
geometry, basic geometry. This room is.
But this is also something that is in a way. So how do you feel about it's almost like everything you do on the net or using computers or tablets, especially tablets. Is it all like gamification of learning? Because that's sometimes when I listen to teachers, and they feel that when they take their tablets, the learning becomes a game. It's like something that clicks in your head. With the tool you use, and then when you listen what they're doing, it's not really got anything to do with games, or it's just that it is the switch of your mind into some other mindset of games.
So instead of doing math work using pen and paper, you do it on the tablet, and suddenly it's fun.
Fun is games, and so it's.
I think we should maybe stop talking about. It's maybe not games that's the question. It's a matter of creating an engaging and stimulating learning environment, and you can call it gamification or you can call it something else. It's getting the stimulation. It's appealing to senses more than just one sense, and if we can. And we can create these environments physically by using, as I said, board games. I mean, they can be used for educational purposes. I mean, look at how rich in gaming we have in the primary school, in preschool, where learning becomes an activity which stimulates curiosity and enthusiasm. And somehow that's lost once you move towards high school. Maybe I think the whole movement is about finding ways of engaging students and getting getting back that sense of fun and curiosity that we seem to lose around the age of 11.
And creativity, especially creativity, using some other tools. This is something we are now in the Finnish new curriculum. We are talking about multiliteracy, saying that you just shouldn't only use pens and pencils and pens, pick photos and drawings and videos, both to learn and to create. You can write an essay by taking photographs or by shooting a video. So this is the thing we're doing, sort of engaging students in many different ways. When we see text, as text can be, a photo is today's text. So. And a video is today's essay. So seeing those coming and enriching our learning. Really.
It gets more difficult. It's when you have simple level education, it's easier. But how do you visualize a second level equation? How do you visualize? That's the hard part. That's why you leave.
But you can, for example, you can go to outside the classroom, possibly in the classroom. But when you go outside in the real world and you start, you can start to and maybe see through the lens of a camera. You can see sort of equations there. You can see symmetry. You can see geographical sort of elements and figures and things like that. So it's about seeing things and then visualizing them. Sort of, I think you can see almost anything if you just take a creative sort of look at things.
Yeah, you have.
I must say, this is a great topic, since everyone gets fired up for real when we are, on overtime already.
Yeah.
And another thing, way too often we agree on most of the stuff, and now at last there was this great disagreement here. I love it. Super. There were a couple of things in the showcase that I guess we haven't touched that much. Unfortunately, Alistair had to leave us already, but he might have had something to say about the Horizon report. Is there something, Tina, from Beth still that like to wrap this up? Some kind of international angle to this? Was there something special about games and education that you're thinking of after BET?
Oh well, no games at BET. Games are passé.
Because it was all gadgets, huh?
Yeah, well, it was like last year or a year before or last 5 years, a lot about games and educational games and serious games and so on, but not very much today. So this year, so it was more like create your own game. So it was about coding and so on. So it was, and I think this is of course. In a way, it's a good thing. The idea that instead of doing things for the students, they should sort of put their hands in the stuff themselves and be creative and learn hands-on and do things themselves because there are for now there are so many tools you can use for learning that helps even the first grader can sort of make games with that stuff. So yeah, I think that was the about gaming in BET.
That's the final note. Games are a thing of the past.
Maybe the next year they're back. I don't know. Hard to say.
Sure. Great. I think we'll call it, at least in my part of the world, I'll call it a day. Chat won't, I'd guess.
Not anywhere near done yet.
Not anywhere near done yet. I'm pretty much done, really.
It was great to see you.
So, super
Elena,
fun
Tim.
as always.
Yeah, great to see you too.
Take care, everyone, and
Take care.
see you on air next time again.
See you.
All right.
Hope so.
Bye, folks.
Bye-bye. Bye.